Welcome back to the deep dive. You gave us the sources, the timelines, and yeah, the biggest questions hanging over Salem, and we're here to give you that shortcut to being completely informed.
That's right.
Today, we are strapping in for, well, what looks like the wildest 2-week stretch on the calendar. It runs from Monday, October 20th, straight through Halloween, October 31st.
And that 2-week stretch is absolutely critical because those last 2 days, October 30th and 31st, that's the starting gun for November sweeps.
Ah, okay.
So everything we talk about today is that crucial, explosive buildup. It's like the final dominoes falling before all the November chaos really kicks off.
Right.
Historically, if something feels dramatic now, you know it's going to be like earth-shattering in 2 weeks.
Got it. So our mission today is to cut through all the noise, give you the absolute core narrative drivers. Looking at the source material, we're zeroing in on, it looks like, 3 huge interconnected movements.
All right.
First, there's this institutional collapse vibe as E.J. DiMera faces some major liability and a lot of personal fury. Second, Gabi Hernandez. She's signing it can only be described as a really high-stakes corporate Faustian bargain. Maybe with the devil, maybe just with DiMera.
A deal, definitely.
And third, multiple long-standing relationships. Foundational ones, it seems, including Xander and Sarah. They're just collapsing.
Yeah.
Dramatically, under the weight of past lies.
That is a heavy list, a very heavy list. But it all starts, really, with the immediate, very visceral fallout from a personal lie. Let's unpack this whole paternity crisis around Sophia Choi and baby Tesoro.
Okay, yeah, let's jump straight into the deep end. Monday, October 20th. Steve Johnson and Brady Black, they actually tracked down Sophia Choi, the woman who lied about Tesoro's parentage. But instead of, a quiet chat behind closed doors, nope. They go for a full-scale public humiliation. They march her straight into the pub.
The pub. Could you pick a more public space in Salem?
Right.
This isn't about being discreet. It's clearly about public accountability. And what's stunning here really is just the sheer number of people waiting for her. It's basically a mob demanding answers.
Yeah.
Not just, 1 or 2 angry people.
Yeah.
We're talking Holly Jonas, Tate Black, Johnny DiMera, Chanel Dupree, Javi Hernandez, Leo Stark, even baby Tesoro and Sophia's own mother, Amy.
Wow.
Every single person who has a stake in this, whether it's financial, emotional, whatever, they're all there, present and accounted for.
And the outcome is immediate.
Yeah.
And severe. It really underscores the gravity of her deception, but maybe also hints at her mental state.
Exactly. The sheer overwhelming pressure of everyone questioning her at once, that public confrontation, the exposure, it causes Sophia to physically collapse.
It just buckles.
Right, under the weight of it all. And that immediately shifts the narrative, doesn't it? From criminal deception to, a severe mental and maybe physical health crisis.
Yeah, it does. And that collapse, it has immediate kind of irreversible ripple effects, especially for Javi and Leo. They are extremely worried about Tesoro's future, and understandably so.
And what's fascinating here, and this really demands a closer look at the legal side, it's the consequence of the paternity reveal itself.
Okay.
Because the DNA results confirm the paternity was faked, any adoption papers Tate Black signed. Or any permission he gave for Javi and Leo to keep the child. It's all legally negated.
Legally negated. That's a strong phrase. So a complete legal wipeout.
That's the phrase the internal notes use, yeah. Legally negated. This isn't just a minor setback. It means the entire foundation of the legal custody fight they just went through.
Yeah.
It's gone.
All that money, the emotional investment.
Vanished.
Poof.
The law basically demands a fresh start.
Wow.
Exactly. And the sources point out that the real biological father, who, let's be honest, we strongly suspect is Aaron Green, that name keeps popping up.
Right.
He must now be given a legal window, a proper, legitimate opportunity to weigh in. Does he want to keep the baby or not?
That's standard procedure, right, in these kinds of cases. Paternity fraud, adoption involved.
Absolutely. Standard procedure. The biological rights of the true father, they just supersede any fraudulent agreements made before.
But hang on, the sources only say we strongly suspect it's Aaron Green. Is there any chance, you think, that this is a setup, a classic soap red herring? Could the paternity bomb drop a different name, someone even more disruptive?
That's actually a really critical point to consider.
Imagine if it was a DiMera or a Kyriakis.
Oh, the fallout would be catastrophic. It wouldn't just negate the adoption. It would ignite a whole new, possibly even messier, custody war. You're right. Just confirming Aaron Green feels almost too neat for Salem. But regardless of who the father is, the immediate legal threat is that window of opportunity.
Yeah.
Whether it's Aaron Green or, surprise guest star X, the adoption process for Javi and Leo is stopped cold indefinitely.
While they find this guy and figure out what he wants.
Exactly. And that uncertainty for Tesoro, that's where the immediate drama comes from. Javi and Leo thought they were finally securing their family, and now the law says, nope, wait, and maybe give the baby back to a stranger.
Stranger who might not even know he has a kid. That's rough.
Very rough.
So that brings us to the next phase, which sounds pretty difficult too. This hits on Thursday, October 23rd. Sarah Horton, acting in her medical role, delivers what the sources call difficult information to Amy, Sophia's mother.
Right, and Sarah's a specialist, so whatever she's saying, it carries serious weight. Given Sophia's dramatic collapse just days before, you have to ask, what is this difficult information?
Okay, like what are the options?
Well, there are a few possibilities floating around. Is Sarah confirming the final difficult paternity results to Amy, which would obviously be emotionally devastating for her?
Yeah.
Or is she explaining that the collapse wasn't just stress, but maybe a neurological event, or cardiac, a physical manifestation? Or, and this seems maybe the most likely, given where these storylines often go, is she explaining the depth of Sophia's psychological distress?
And the sources specifically raise the possibility. Bayview, right. Inpatient care.
Exactly. Bayview. That signals a huge shift. We're moving from the crime story to a serious mental health crisis narrative. And if you follow Salem, Bayview isn't just a quick check-in.
No, it's the marker for a complete breakdown, long-term recovery.
Precisely. If Sophia's headed there, it means her storyline is shifting dramatically. Focus on recovery, maybe redemption down the line, rather than immediate jail time for the frog.
And if it is Bayview, that sidelines her for a while.
Oh, absolutely. Through sweeps, probably well into the new year. That's a classic soap move, right? Remove the character from the immediate chaos, but leave all the emotional consequences, the trauma for Tate and Brady, the legal mess for Tesoro, right there in the thick of it.
And that trauma, it definitely extends to the other victims. On that same day, Thursday, Brady's commiserating with Tate. And this conversation, it sounds like it goes way beyond just disappointment. It's about the trauma of betrayal, the loss of what they genuinely thought was family.
Yeah, they went through the hope, right? Believing this baby was part of them, this biological link, only to have it ripped away, to find out it never existed.
And for Tate, this is the second time he's gone through something like this. This deep, confusing loss involving a child he thought was his, that's got to leave scars.
Huge scars. And it all connects to the bigger picture, leading into sweeps. The emotional fallout here, it doesn't just fade away. Our internal tracking confirms Sophia's likely heading to Bayview, especially after she apparently gets caught trying to skip town during that final week of October.
Trying to run, that seals it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It confirms how desperate she is. It cements the need for that institutional help right as we head into the high-stakes period. So the immediate crisis of the deception gets resolved, in a way, by her complete breakdown.
Okay, so while that paternity crisis kind of implodes with Sophia's collapse and hospitalization, let's pivot. Because there's another area showing signs of, well, systemic failure. The corporate battlefield.
Yeah.
If the family unit is collapsing over here, the business world in Salem is experiencing its own kind of structural decay right now.
Right. If the paternity crisis was like an emotional bomb going off, the DiMera world is more like a slow-motion structural collapse.
Yeah.
Due to incompetence, maybe external pressure, maybe both. Let's start with E.J. DiMera. He is facing fury from basically all sides, institutional, personal, and even within the family.
He absolutely is. Our notes show Sarah Horton confronts him, and the anger seems directed squarely at the mess at the hospital, which, of course, includes that catastrophic blackout.
Yeah, and EJ, as a major power player, maybe acting CEO of DiMera Enterprises at this point, he becomes the institutional target for liability.
Exactly.
And we really need to dig into the legal implications here. A hospital blackout isn't just like an inconvenience.
No.
It can lead to massive civil litigation. Think about it.
Yeah.
Failure of life-saving equipment, patient injuries, disrupted surgeries. This is high-stakes negligence territory.
The city, individual patients, they're going to be looking for someone to blame. And pay.
A massive payout. This isn't just some corporate fraud thing tucked away in an office. This is public relations nightmare meets financial catastrophe waiting to happen for DiMera.
And this probably leads directly to his, let's call it fascinating and highly suspicious charm offensive on Tuesday, October 21st.
Okay.
EJ tries to get on Belle Black's good side. He visits her at Marlena Evans's place for a personal conversation. Now, you could read this as defensive, sure, but I'm reading the sources like he's trying to gain sympathy, maybe soften his image before Sweeps really hits, like narrative PR, not just legal strategy.
I think you're right about the PR angle, but let's not discount the legal necessity. Why Belle? Why specifically her? Out of all the high-powered corporate lawyers EJ must have on speed dial.
Good question.
Because Belle handles criminal defense, high-stakes civil defense. EJ needs a top-tier lawyer who also understands the, let's say, unique emotional landscape of Salem to defend him. Potential criminal negligence charges, a massive liability suit from the city. He needs the best.
So he's looking for professional protection, not romance, even if he wraps the request up nicely.
Exactly. And the sources explicitly note she's not expected to take him back romantically.
Right.
That pretty much confirms this is transactional. It's purely about legal survival for EJ.
Okay. What's also interesting is while EJ's scrambling to deal with these external threats, the DiMera family itself seems to be grappling with its own internal decay. On Wednesday, Chad DiMera and EJ actually talk about the massive difficulties, the struggles that DiMeras have endured over the past couple of years.
Which is a remarkable moment of self-awareness for them, isn't it?
It really is.
The DiMera Enterprises has been under constant siege. Corporate raids, murders, betrayals, now this infrastructure failure with the blackout. They acknowledge they've been put through the ringer. And for once, they actually admit some of the struggles are their own fault.
That's big for them.
It signals a possible shift, maybe. Are the DiMera men finally realizing that their own chaotic, secretive way of doing business is maybe the single biggest threat to their company's survival? The whole legacy is at risk here.
And this struggle for legitimate control, or even the appearance of it, is why that CEO position is still such a hot topic. We see Paulina Price bickering with Abe Carver. She doesn't get why he won't let CEO, who she calls a whole-grown man, make his own decision about accepting Tony DiMera's offer to be CEO.
Yeah, Paulina sees the CEO job as pure power, opportunity, maybe glamour. Abe, though, having dealt with the DiMera legacy firsthand for decades, he sees it as a guaranteed poison chalice.
Right, he knows the history.
He doesn't want his son dragged into the inevitable legal mess, the criminal chaos that just seems to come with controlling DiMera Enterprises. It really highlights that fundamental conflict in perception. Is DiMera a legit company, or is it just a machine built on secrets and destruction?
And Abe clearly fears the latter. He knows the DiMera name often chews up and spits out the people in that top job. So while the DiMera men are bickering over the throne, Gabi Hernandez is busy making moves lower down the corporate ladder and complicating her blossoming relationship with Philip Kyriakis in the process.
Right, Gabi and Philip are enjoying this new dynamic, whatever it is. But Gabi's about to test its limits with what we're calling the devilish bargain.
Okay, what's the deal?
The key transaction happens on October 21st. Gabi makes an agreement with Theo. Now remember, Tony supposedly gave her company back to her, wholly independent.
Yeah, Gabi Cheek or whatever iteration it is now.
Right. But the bargain seems to be this. She might choose to keep her company's autonomy, but still operate under the vast DiMera umbrella.
Okay. Best of both worlds for her.
It's pure strategic, Gabi, isn't it? She gets the benefits, the financial infrastructure, the political clout, maybe R&D from having this good-sized corporate machine supporting her, as the notes say. But she retains the independent decision-making she absolutely craves.
It's like having her cake and eating it too, corporate style.
It's a classic Trojan horse maneuver, really. Yeah. She gets the perks of the megacorp without the full regulatory burden or, the messy family oversight. And crucially, this strategy lets her keep dating Philip,
the son of her rival's company head.
Exactly, without sacrificing her professional standing. She stays close to both rival structures, DiMera power, Kyriakis leverage through Philip. It maximizes her ability to play the game.
This entire setup is built on shaky ground, right? There's the corporate bug.
Ah, yes, the smoking crater, as you called it. Only Tony and Gabi know she planted surveillance equipment in the corporate offices. This is significant corporate espionage, like felony-level stuff in the real world.
Though maybe just a Tuesday afternoon in Salem?
Probably. But it raises that critical risk-reward question for Gabi. If Philip finds out, how does he react?
What do the sources speculate?
They figure Philip would likely let it slide.
Really? Why?
Well, two reasons mentioned. One, Gabi's highly attractive, sure. But more importantly, Philip's own history. The guy faked his own death, framed people, His moral compass is, let's say, flexible.
That's putting it mildly.
So a little corporate espionage from his charismatic new girlfriend is probably not a deal breaker, maybe even exciting to him. He's used to darkness. Gabi's ambition likely intrigues him more than it offends him.
Okay, but the threat isn't just Philip discovering it. There's Xander Cook.
Xander. He's already grilling Philip about his intense interest in Gabi. Xander's skeptical, highly suspicious. He's been burned by corporate betrayal plenty of times.
And right now, neither Xander nor Philip know Gabi planted the bug.
Not yet, as far as we know. But Xander's intuition. It's rarely wrong when it smells something shady. Hey, you might start digging.
And then there's the ultimate wild card, Tony DiMera.
Or is it Tony DiMera? That's the chaos factor.
Yeah.
The person who could expose Gabi, shattering her corporate leverage and her relationship with Philip, is Tony.
So what's the thinking there?
The sources are kind of split. If it's the real Tony, he might honor the deal he made with her. Maybe out of respect for her sheer corporate nerve.
Okay.
But if it's Andre DiMera masquerading as Tony, which, let's face it, is always a possibility in Salem. Andre lives for maximum disruption. He might expose Gabi just to be chaotic, or frankly, just to be a jerk. Think about the fallout. Exposing Gabi's fraud would create chaos across the DiMera, Kyriakis, and Hernandez families all at once. That's Andre's playground.
So this whole corporate section is just built on manipulation, hidden facts. EJ desperate to hide his legal exposure, Gabi desperate to hide her espionage.
Exactly. And that theme, hiding the truth, hiding facts, it leads us directly into the brutal, immediate relationship explosions that happened at the end of this week. Yeah, if the DiMera family is dealing with systemic collapse, Xander and Sarah are achieving, well, total definitive relationship termination. This feels like the big one, the dramatic high-stakes moment the show's been building to for a long time.
It sounds incredibly intense, and it starts, interestingly, with pressure from inside the family. Thursday, October 23rd, Maggie Horton Kyriakis. Right. The moral compass of the Kyriakis clan, Xander's stepmother, she grills him relentlessly, pushing him about Philip. She clearly knows something is deeply wrong, and she forces the issue. She acts as this unexpected catalyst for the confession.
And then, boom, the very next day, Friday, October 24th, the reckoning arrives. Sarah confronts Xander directly, demands the unvarnished truth about Philip.
And after months of denial, dodging, attempts at therapy,
he finally caves. Xander admits it. He was the one who beat Philip so brutally.
Wow, that is the definitive moment. And for Paul Telfer, who, let's not forget, just won Best Actor at the Emmys for this exact storyline.
Right. They quit.
He finally has to deliver the truth that just shatters his entire life, his marriage, and Sarah's reaction. The sources say it's absolute, unyielding, totally final.
She kicks him out of the house,
right,
takes off her wedding ring, declares their relationship unequivocally done.
The ring coming off, that's huge in soap language.
Oh, absolutely. We need to pause on that symbolism. Taking the ring off isn't usually a let's take a break move. It's a declaration of finality. It means the foundational promise of that marriage is shattered beyond repair in her eyes.
They've both tried, but this one secret.
The sheer weight of it. His violent assault on Philip. It's just too much for her conscience, too much for any possible future they might have had.
And we can't forget the lead up. Sarah had checked in with Marlena earlier that week, right? October 21st?
Yeah, the notes mention that.
Likely about her health concerns, or maybe crucially about how those first few couples therapy sessions with Xander went, which suggests Sarah was already feeling pretty fragile, maybe looking for some external validation that things could be saved.
Right. And the fact that the therapy apparently failed before Xander even managed to tell the truth, that makes the breakup even more devastating, in a way. It confirms the relationship was probably terminally ill long before the actual confession came out.
It's just brutal timing. Okay, moving from one relationship ending definitively to one about to stumble into a massive communication fail. Stephanie Johnson and Alex Kyriakis.
Ah, yes. A classic case of misplaced fury heading their way.
They're busy planning her big reveal, right?
Yeah.
As the author Anastasia Sands, timing it with her murder mystery book debut on October 22nd.
Yep, they're feeling triumphant, ready for their moment, riding high.
But that triumph gets immediately derailed because they make this huge, incorrect assumption.
They assume wrongly, and apparently without any proof, that Jeremy Horton is the one who betrayed Stephanie. That he's the one who told Leo Stark she wrote that tell-all book, One Stormy Night.
Why?
Which leads directly to a public and sounds like highly aggressive confrontation on Friday, October 24th.
Alex gets intensely confrontational with Jeremy, in Horton Town Square no less, escalating really quickly based on totally false information.
And Stephanie, maybe seeing disaster unfolding, tries to pull Alex away, tells him it's not worth it. But the prediction is this gets very messy because Jeremy's going to be, quote, really aggravated by these false accusations.
They're picking a fight with the wrong guy for the wrong reason, right before her big professional launch. Not smart.
It's kind of the perfect encapsulation of Salem toxicity, isn't it? Instead of, I don't know, calmly investigating how Leo found out. I mean, Leo's a professional gossip. That's his whole thing.
It's Leo.
They immediately assume the worst of an acquaintance and jump straight to public aggression. Alex's hot-headedness just consistently undermines Stephanie's professional judgment. We've seen that friction before.
Yeah, we have. Okay, but amidst all this relationship drama and collapse, there is, thankfully, a small glimmer of hope. For the next generation, maybe.
Yes, a necessary one, I think. On that same Friday, October 24th, Javi and Leo run into Amy, Sophia's mother, and in what sounds like a really profound gesture, they actually let her hold baby Tesoro.
Wow, really after everything?
Yeah. It's described as a small but incredibly powerful moment. A forgiveness, maybe. Healing. Despite the legal chaos, despite Sophia's awful deception, Javi and Leo seem to be acknowledging that connection between Amy and her biological grandson.
That's actually really mature of them.
It shows a potential path forward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Forming a new, maybe non-traditional family structure for the baby. It's a really important counterpoint to the idea that all family structures have to be based on rigid legal paternity or traditional lines.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we also see another couple dealing with potential family issues in a healthier way. Johnny and Chanel, also on the 24th. They open up to each other about their fears, their anxieties regarding their own adoption plans. Which makes total sense, right? After watching the Tesoro paternity disaster unfold right in front of them.
Absolutely. They'd be right to be anxious about all the uncertainty.
But the key is they're sharing those fears. They're having that open dialogue. And that feels like a sign of a strong, healthy relationship. It stands in such stark contrast to the destructive secrets that just blew up Xander and Sarah's marriage.
Exactly. Johnny and Chanel are actively trying to build their foundation on honesty, even when things feel uncertain or scary. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we transition into those final crucial days of the month, the last 4 episodes, basically, that are specifically designed to set the stage and launch the major storylines for November sweeps. And the biggest ongoing threat, it seems, to the entire DiMera structure comes from a recovered memory.
Right. The fuse gets lit on October 23rd. Rachel Black's memories start sparking. She begins to recollect the traumatic night she shot EJ.
This is monumental. Absolutely monumental. It brings back the whole specter of, child violence, trauma. And it immediately worries Marlena, her psychologist, her grandmother.
Marlena has every reason to be terrified, doesn't she?
Oh, completely. A child recovering a traumatic, repressed memory like that, especially one involving them committing violence against a major family figure. It's incredibly complex psychologically and legally.
And the source notes anticipate more backlash from this, right? Throughout that final week, October 27th to 31st?
Yes, resulting from Rachel's recovered memory of the shooting. This is clearly the storyline that's going to pay off massively during sweeps. The implications are just staggering.
So staggering because, Rachel's memory could change the entire narrative of that shooting, couldn't it? Was it really an accident? Was she maybe protecting someone? Who else was there?
Exactly. And maybe more importantly, what does this recovered memory do to EJ? He's already grappling with the institutional liability from the blackout.
Right. Trying to manage his image, cozying up to Belle.
If the legal narrative of his own shooting suddenly gets complicated by his daughter's recovered testimony, all those efforts to mitigate his image become completely useless. It could destroy him from a totally unexpected angle.
And beyond EJ, this memory could unlock other things too.
It could serve as a trigger, absolutely. Unraveling other long-buried family secrets. Remember, Rachel is Kristen and Brady's daughter. EJ was the victim. That DiMera Black conflict runs so deep. A child's recovered memory could potentially unravel decades of careful manipulation and lies on all sides.
And Marlena's immediate worry signals how seriously the show is taking this.
Right. It's not just a plot point. It's being framed as a major psychological event that will ripple out and affect everyone in the orbit of the DiMera dynasty. Huge potential here.
Okay, shifting slightly to other characters orbiting the DiMeras. The world keeps churning, returning faces, character exits. Chad, who's already dealing with the family struggles alongside EJ, might have an uncomfortable run-in with Dr. Mark Green. He's due back in Salem soon.
Dr. Green. a medical figure returning right now. That feels highly likely connected to the immediate medical fallout from the hospital blackout.
Or maybe Sophia's situation.
Or Sophia's required care, yeah. Chad's run-in could be about the hospital's current instability, tying directly back to EJ's liability problems. Or maybe it's setting up something else. A future storyline involving Chad's own health, or his kids. Worth watching.
And speaking of Chad, even though he and Kate Roberts are officially split, the notes say they're going to keep running into each other.
Yeah, the writers are deliberately making sure their paths cross constantly, which usually indicates there's still residual tension there. Romantic, maybe, or at least deep emotional stuff that hasn't been resolved just by the physical separation. They're not done yet.
Seems like it. And we should also note a smaller but still significant character exit for the family. Thomas DiMera, Chad's son. Sounds like he might be leaving Salem soon.
Right. The sources attribute this to the actor having a prior commitment, a new project, which happens, but narratively. The exit of a child often signals that continued, grinding instability within the DiMera world.
Like things are getting too dangerous.
Exactly. When things get too dangerous or chaotic in Salem, the kids are often the first ones sent away for safety. It subtly reinforces the risks that EJ and Chad are currently facing.
Okay. Shifting back to Stephanie and Alex for a sec. They're still planning to drop the big news about her identity as Anastasia Sands, timing it with her murder mystery book debut.
They want that high-profile, celebratory reveal.
Assuming their public brawl with Jeremy hasn't completely tanked the press conference first.
Right. They want fanfare, a big literary splash. But they might get real horror instead. Because the biggest spectacle of the week seems saved for Halloween night itself, October 31st. Perfect blend of terror and holiday fun.
Oh yeah, the Halloween horror. Someone tries to attack Kate and Chad. Out in the open, Hortontown Square on Halloween.
Yes, but thankfully Alex is there. And despite his recent, less than stellar behavior with Jeremy.
He switches back to hero mode.
Apparently so. He warns them, physically pushes them out of the way of the attacker. And, get this description. The maniac is knife-wielding and dressed in an old-school, mad scientist-type lab coat.
Okay, that sounds very Halloween.
Pure B-movie horror, designed specifically for the holiday. Which brings us to the essential caveat for you, the dedicated listener.
What's the catch?
Our sources are highly suspicious that this is likely a classic, one-off Halloween episode. Meaning it'll be fun, it'll be scary, Alex gets to be the hero for a night. But it probably won't contribute much, if anything, to the main storyline continuity.
Unlike Rachel's memories, which definitely will.
Exactly. This attack is probably narrative candy, not narrative substance. Enjoy the masked villain, enjoy the rescue, but don't expect it to change the game come November 1st.
Got it. That's a really important distinction. Focus the analytical energy on Rachel's memory, not the mad scientist.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And just rounding out the week, a couple of minor plot points mentioned. Holly and Ariana Horton have to face campus authorities about that accidental dorm fire on October 23rd. So even minor characters are facing some accountability this week.
And in true Leo Stark fashion, Rita apparently catches him snooping around. Probably in the hospital construction area, the notes guess, on October 22nd.
Leo's never far from where he shouldn't be, is he?
Never. It just confirms that even amidst all the high drama, the collapses, the confessions, the potential murders, the low-level corporate espionage and general sneakiness just continue unabated. It underscores that constant tension in Salem.
Yeah. And really, everything happening in these 2 weeks, whether it's Leo snooping or Xander finally confessing, it feels defined by that moment. A secret finally comes out, and the subsequent, often brutal, consequences. #tag Willer.
So if we boil it all down, the core tensions of these 2 crucial weeks leading into sweeps, it really feels like it's about the devastating price of truth. And maybe the high stakes of unchecked ambition.
I think that's right.
We saw the immediate total collapse of Sophia, just crushed under the weight of her paternity lie, needing hospitalization. We witnessed the complete, seemingly final destruction of Xander and Sarah's marriage the instant he told the truth about beating Philip.
Yeah, the trigger was the truth itself.
And we watched Gabi make this really risky power play with DiMera, a deal that depends entirely on keeping her corporate espionage hidden from Philip and maybe from Andrea's Tony.
And what's fascinating is just how quickly the truth acts as that catalyst for catastrophic change. The minute Xander confesses, the relationship is declared done. The moment the paternity truth is forced out into the open, Sophia collapses, heading towards Bayview.
No ambiguity.
No. These spoilers really show how truth, whether it's about paternity or corporate loyalty or past violence, It's the ultimate weapon in Salem. It leads to immediate, incredibly painful consequences. And all of that is setting the stage perfectly for November sweeps.
Indeed. So with Xander and Sarah finished, with EJ desperately trying to hide his liability over the hospital blackout, and the DiMera men actually questioning their entire legacy, the major question hanging over everything is this. Can any stable, healthy relationship actually survive in Salem? Especially when the family-owned corporate machine seems fundamentally built on so many dangerous long-term secrets.
That's the core question.
And maybe even more pointedly, what final, shattering truth is going to emerge from Rachel Black's recovering memory? Could that be the thing that finally shatters the DiMera dynasty for good?
That's what we'll be watching for. That feels like the big domino poised to fall as the madness of November sweeps truly begins.